I haven't seen your request. Here we are.
It's there, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise on a point of order because of what we've just heard, that exciting presentation by His Excellency the President. And yet, Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order 16, and I quote, "The President, while occupying the chair of state, may on any day after disposal of all matters other than business and between all by way of interruption of any orders of the day, but not in relation to any order of the day, make a presidential statement which is heard in silence or question." Mr. Speaker, that standing order is prohibitive to the need for us to be able to take this opportunity as the 10th Parliament to felicitate His Excellency the President for his exemplary contribution to the well-being of this nation. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to invite you to consider invoking the provisions of Standing Order number 1, so that you are not seen to be going contrary to this House, Mr. Speaker, to make a few comments in response to what His Excellency the President has said. Thank you, sir.
Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Indeed, work to the provisions of Standing Order number 16, and I did cite it even as we started. His Excellency the President made his address. And honorable members, one of the elements that the President has picked out of my performance as your Speaker is that I have been strict with the law, I have been non-partisan. And I intend to tenuously stick to it. But I will say the following, honorable members. Standing Order number 16, so that we all follow. It provides as follows, in extenso: the President, while occupying the chair of state, A, may on any day matters other than business and between or by hours of the day, but not in relation to any order of the day, make a presidential statement which shall be heard in silence and not followed by any comment or question. So the position is clear, and I'm glad. I want to commend you for having complied by hearing His Excellency the President in total silence. And after that address, it is not supposed to be followed by any comment or question. That means we cannot put so that we say, as many as are of this opinion say aye, as many as of a contrary opinion say nay. That we can't do. Neither should we comment on the President's address. But there is something you can do, which if members feel the service of the President, both to the legislature, Parliament, or to the nation, then you will be at liberty to do so. But you cannot edit, censor, question the President's address. That is how we will proceed. Those of you who may wish to appreciate at liberty to do so. Honorable Amos Kimunya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to record special thanks to His Excellency for finding time to be with us in the House, and to congratulate him for being the longest serving member of this House. And indeed, he may well have the record for being the longest serving member for a long time to come. And to pay special thanks to the people of Othaya for the steady support from 1974, and for allowing him to accumulate this wealth of experience and knowledge that has been so evident with the management of state affairs over the last 10 years. His Excellency has taught us the values of patience, humility, and focusing on the goal despite the usual challenges. And I hope all of us, and I trust from my own part, that we've all learned to take these vital lessons as we take Kenya forward. Mr. Speaker, with those words, I beg to record my special thanks for the exemplary service that the President has served this country, and I do hope that we've all learned a thing or two that we can use as we move forward into the future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The member for Galsen.
Mr. Speaker, I'm standing on a point of order, Mr. Speaker. You are the head of this parliament, Mr. Speaker. You have given a very elaborate opinion of this House. As a representative of this House, you have said what needs to be said to His Excellency the President. Mr. Speaker, any other member of parliament speaking will diminish what is already there. Mr. Speaker, even trying to answer what the President is saying is diminishing what we all know to have. Mr. Speaker, let's leave this, we end this session, and proceed to other business. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. I have heard you, member for Galsen, and indeed I've heard your sentiments, and they still accord with the directions that I have given. But we will still hear one or two members, and it depends on how they speak to the matter. I will want to ensure that we...
Yes.
It's on. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I would really just like to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank you for working on our behalf. And as a member of parliament and as an assistant minister in this government, I would also like to take the opportunity to really thank him for what he has done for the Republic of Kenya and giving the young people of this country opportunity. We want to say thank you. And as I said it very well in Syokimau when he was there. You don't have to say thank you to someone when he's gone. It is good to appreciate them when they are there. Your Excellency, we appreciate you for the good work that you have done for this country. You became a member of parliament before I was born. And I'm very worked with you at my age. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Asante sana.
The Honorable Abdul Kadir.
But you have given me the mouth.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, may I thank His Excellency the President for his support to the constitutional review process. I have been fortunate on behalf of this House to lead both the review of the Constitution and the implementation, and in both processes, the Office of Prime Minister have been exceptionally cooperative. Most times, Mr. Speaker, this House has not had much cooperation from the ministers, but the President and the Prime Minister have been exceptionally cooperative as far as the implementation of the Constitution has been concerned. Indeed, a number of times, decisions of His Excellency were reversed, either by the courts or this House, and His Excellency has had the humility and the sense of leadership to accept those difficult decisions which most chief executives may not have, to take the country forward. It is for that humility and for that sense of dedication that this House indeed extends its gratitude to His Excellency the President for 50 years of service to this nation and to this House. Thank you very much.
The member for Juja.
Asante Bwana Spika. Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa nafasi ya watu ya Juja, mimi nataka kukushukuru kwa kazi yako njema ya nchi hii, na ukistaafu maisha marefu. Mungu akubariki. Asante.
Member for Kisumu Rural, Kisumu Town Rural.
Mr. Speaker, I write to add my voice to those who have appreciated the speech of His Excellency, Mr. Speaker. But I just want to add two things which His Excellency was too humble to mention in his last years as the President of this country. One, Mr. Speaker, it is not easy to preside over a transition from an authoritarian rule to democratic one. In many countries, Mr. Speaker, it has always been a very turbulent period. But, Mr. Speaker, we must thank His Excellency for having presided over this transition and made it possible for us now to build a democratic society. Secondly and finally, Mr. Speaker, when I was Minister for Planning and National Development, and this country had had negative growth, Mr. President was capable of giving room to new thoughts so that new teams could be put in place to guide this country into rapid economic growth. And the results of that accomplishment, Mr. Speaker, can now be seen in Kenya marching towards being a second world. Mr. Speaker, finally, His Excellency, in that first 5 years, made it possible for an Economic and Social Council to be established for the first time in this country, and therefore for the initiation of Vision 2030 to start. Mr. Speaker, these are no minor accomplishments in the history of a nation, and I'd like to commend His Excellency for this accomplishment and for the inheritance that is given Kenyan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Lamu West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for affording me this opportunity to also express my personal gratitude and the gratitude of the people I represent, the people of Lamu West, for the excellent work that His Excellency has done during his 10 years as our head of state and head of government. We are particularly grateful in Lamu for the title deeds that His Excellency the President was instrumental in getting our people, for rural electrification, for free education, for the Lamu port, for improved security, and so many other things that other Kenyans also enjoy, like free education and the other things. Your Excellency, we've learned a lot from you with regard to tolerance and being magnanimous as a leader, and not being a leader focused on issues and not a malicious leader. We've seen contrast between your leadership and leadership that we've seen in the past. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and we wish you a happy retirement and long, healthy life. Thank you.
Member for Marakwet East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity, to the President for embracing me when I came to Parliament and my constituents, and thank him that since he took leadership as the President of this country, my constituents who slept in caves, Your Excellency, now sleep in houses. I want to thank you for the security we've enjoyed in your tenure. You did write about your agenda for Marakwet. Though it's not yet complete, the people of the Embobut Glades have seen light at the end of the tunnel that soon they will be resettled. So on behalf of the Marakwet constituents, famously referred to as Otayandogo, I want to thank you.
The member for Motito. The Honorable Kema Kilonzo.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to join my colleagues to congratulate His Excellency the President. I joined this Parliament 10 years ago when he started his presidency, and as he leaves the presidency, Mr. Speaker, to go for retirement and start my new job as the governor of Kitui, Mr. Speaker, the President would be remembered for the infrastructure, Mr. Speaker. The President will be in office just to complete his job on infrastructure, which he promised to do as he goes to retire. I thank you, Mr. President.
Member for Kitutu Chache.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand here to congratulate a great man. Mr. Speaker, I happen to be a son of a man who worked with the President. And on several occasions when we would ask him how he would rate the people he worked with, Mr. Speaker, my father once commented and said, President Kibaki is the president Kenya would never have, and he's always much deeper than you see him. I'm glad that Kenyans made him the president of this country. People of Gusii County I appreciate and will always honor the fact that the President constantly visited. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, who sit in this House who are unelected, unlike my colleagues, which means me and you, to thank most sincerely His Excellency the President. I would like, Mr. Speaker, to thank the President for bringing to the people of Kenya, restore its people self-respect, dignity,